Hi students, welcome to Structural Engineering Lectures and welcome to the playlist on the advanced steel designs. In today's class we shall see the design of independent grillage foundation as per the limited design IS 800 2007, right? Whereas in the previous class we have seen the design of a cold formed light gauge steel structure wherein we have designed the steel framing, stud walls, beams and columns, right? A numeric problem we have said. I think if you like the discussions what we had, right, try to support our channel by clicking like, comment, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now let us see what we'll be discussing in today's class today, right? Before we see the actual discussion, let's see the brief profile of the speaker. That is I, Dr. D. Rupesh Kumar, has obtained my BTech in Civil Engineering from Nagarjuna University in 1994, MTech in Structural Engineering from JNTU Hyderabad in 2000, and PhD in Structural Engineering from JNTU Hyderabad in 2009. Presently, I am working as Professor of Department of Civil Engineering, University College of Engineering, Osman University, Hyderabad, Telangana State. I have an experience of 28 years, of which 7 years is in industry and 21 years is in teaching and research at graduate and postgraduate levels. My research areas include reinforced cement concrete design, structural steel designs, structural analysis, fundament analysis, earthquake engineering, bridge engineering, and structural optimization. I published 45 research papers in international as well as national journals and conferences, and organized three international conferences and 11 national conferences and workshops, attended 43 workshops, visited 2 countries, delivered 14 guest lectures, edited 3 books, and supervising 14 PhD scholars and supervised 33 ME theses. I am actively involved in various consultancy works that are offered by the Department of Civil Engineering and completed over 800 plus design and proof checks and 150 plus designs of RCC, steel, composite, low-rise, high-rise, multi-story buildings and road as well as railway bridges. Right? Now, once we see this brief profile, let us see what we'll be discussing in today's class, student. Right? This is how I'm just showing the schematics, right? Wherein this is an actual photograph of a combined grillage foundation, right? Combined grillage foundation where this is supported on the first tier as well as the second tier of the grillage. Grillage means a series of the beams which are connected by means of the connectors, right? And I'll also show the schematic, right? That is how this is an independent grillage foundation, right? Supporting the column which is supported on the base plate and transferring the loads on the first tier of the beams, transferring the entire load onto the second tier, which is supported on the concrete pedestal or concrete block, right, which are connected by means of the separators, right, pipe separators, right. This is an isometric view of this independent grillage foundation. This we'll try to design in today's class, right? Or the schematic of the same is shown now, right? You please see that these fall under the category of the encased beams, right? Therefore, this is how all these steel beams, so the column is supported on the base plate, and in turn they are transferring the load on the first tier beams, which are connected by means of the pipes, pipe connectors, which will keep all the beams acting as one unit and transferring the entire load on the second tier, right? However, at least 100 mm gap should be available all around the periphery as per the code specification that we'll see. This is how in elevation as well as this is in plan, right? In plan we can see the I section supported on the base plate and in turn transferring the load on the first tier, right? 4 beams are as appropriate, and on the second tier beams, right? And which is encased, right? Or this is encased means now concrete is poured so that it will not be exposed to open environment, or because these are already embedded in the soil, they may get rustification. In order to avoid that, these are encased in the concrete, right? Now, this is also another schematic of the same what we have seen, right? And this is a 3D isometric view, right? I section which is supported on the base plate, which is throwing the load on the first tier, throwing the load on the second tier, or even third tier is also shown, right? This is how, and which is supported on the concrete pedestal, right? Now let us see one numeric problem. However, this problem is the same what we have seen in the very first and second video, ASD1 and ASD2. For fundamentals, you may please see that, but there we have worked out this problem using the working stress concepts. Now in today's class we shall see the same using the limit state design. Using the limit state design, student. There is only a difference, right? Same is the data, same is the problem, right? Only there is a difference, right? Now I'll not discuss the fundamentals now. If you are further interested, you may just watch these two videos, AHD1 and AHD2. Now, from AHD1, I'm taking that problem and reworking out it in using the limit state design. Right? Now, design a two-tier isolated grillage foundation for a column transmitting a load of 1000 kilonewton. The safe bearing capacity of the soil may be taken as 150 kilonewton per meter square, and the size of the base plate may be taken as 700 mm by 700 mm, right? That is all the data given, student, right? Whereas what is now given is here the from a column what is that column section is not given, but it is transmitting a load of 1000 kilonewton on a base plate 700 mm by 700 mm, right? 700 mm by 700 mm, so that it will uniformly distribute the load on to the first tier, right? Like this, right? First tier beams, and which in turn is supported onto the second tier, that just now I was shown, right? Hence P is equal to 1000 kilonewton, and sulfate generally will be adding 10% extra there for 10% of 1000 works out to 100 kilonewtons. Hence the factored load Pu is equal to P multiplied by 1.5, right? Therefore, as per the IAS 800 2007 table 4, the page number 29, the partial safety factor for the dead load and live load is equal to 1.5, and the SBC P naught RQ is given as 150 kilonewton per meter square, and the size of the base plate is given as A is equal to B is equal to 700 mm by 700 mm. That is what the size is given, right? Whereas if I go to this IAS 800 2007 table 32 page number 111, let me just go to that as per the new code, page number 111, right? Here we can see the encased steel columns and beam specifications are given with respect to the fire resistance fire resistant rating, right? This is how the encased beam, right? And now even the codal specifications are available for the encased steel columns, how it should be, right, in table 31, and similarly it is available for the beams also in table 32. That now I'm showing encased steel beams 406 mm by 176 mm as per the IAS 800 2007 page number 111. Protection applied on three sides, right? Hollow protection, etc. Whereas now if I go to this third specification, this is the solid protection, concrete not leaner than 1:2:4. This we already discussed in previous video, please see that, right? And there are the two conditions, right? Concrete not assumed to be load bearing and reinforced. Generally this is our assumption, then in which case what should the minimum thickness of protection for a fire resistance of half an hour, 1 hour, so on and so forth, up to 4-hour rating. These are the minimum thicknesses are mentioned. However, as per even we would have the second condition, concrete assumed to be load bearing, then in which case obviously there is more cover. You please see, for half an hour previously it was a 25 mm, now it is 50 mm. That is how the cover is more, right? Even for lightweight concrete non-linear than 1:2:4 is also for that also minimum thickness of protection for fire resistance is given in new code, right? Even if I go to the old code, IAS 800 2007 is the new code as per the limit state method, whereas as per the working stress method, IAS 800 1984, if I refer to section 10, design of encased beams, right, we would have, right, how the encasing shall be done for the columns. It is given, right? The member is of symmetrical shape or single I beam for channels back to back with or without flanges, right? This is for the column. Whereas coming to that of the beams also, the conditions of the design, the section is of single web or I form of double open channel form with not with the webs not less than 40 apart, right? And even this we have already seen. The beams shall be unpainted and is solidly encased in ordinary dense concrete with 10 aggregate unless solidity can be obtained with the larger aggregates and grade designation not less than M15 grade concrete. As per the new code also we have seen the same, right? The minimum width of the solid casing B0 plus 100 where B0 is the width of the steel flange in and the surface and edge of the flanges of the beam have a concrete cover not less than 50 and the casing is effectively reinforced with steel wire of at least 5 dia and the reinforcement shall be in the form of stirrups or binding at not more than 150 pitch and so arranged to pass through the CG or center of the covering of the edges and soffit of the lower flanges, right? This is how the specifications are given, student. As per this specification now, we'll try to design the encased beam. Now, once I know these specifications, now let me go to the numeric problem solution, wherein now I have noted down the data, student. Then what now I'll do, the first subheading is the size of the grillage foundation. Therefore now I'll find out for that subheading area of the grillage foundation required is equal to load divided by self bearing capacity. Load including the self weight of the foundation is equal to 1100 divided by SBC is 150. All the inputs are in terms of kiloton per meter square. Therefore now I'll get the output as 7.33 meter square, or approximately 7.4 meter square. Whereas now assuming, this is my assumption, assuming the grillage foundation as a square section, therefore in which case the area of this footing required, actually that of the grillage beam, actually this is that of the grillage beam only, right, is equal to square root of this area, that works out square root of 7.4 means 2.72, or say 2.72 is the length as well as the breadth. L is equal to B is equal to 2.72, right? Now hence provide a grillage foundation of base as a square of, now even code says that you now provide 100 plus 100 extra. Therefore 100 plus 100 means 2.9 by 2.9 is the outer to outer dimension of the concrete, right? Now next subheading, once I fix the size, then I need to design the upper tier beams, right? Now therefore now first subheading is the design of the upper tier means like this, right? Just wait for a moment, right? This is the design of the upper tier. What now? Just now fixed this size 2.72. I just fixed this dimension as 2.72, but I am providing 2.92 or more also as appropriate, right? This is how 2.72 is just bare minimum required. This bare minimum required is this length of this grillage at the bottom of this one, or that of the footing, is equal to 100 plus 100 or 2.92, or say 3 meter by 3 meter as appropriate, right? Then now I'll design this top tier grillage, right? Therefore that is how many please see that this top tier grillage is transferring the load coming from the base plate onto the lower tier, second tier. Therefore the load is presumed to be uniformly distributed over all n number of beams, right? And which are transferred uniformly onto the lower tier beam. That is how the load path mechanism, or even if I see this side, that is how all these this column is throwing a load on the base plate, which is transferred to these n number of beams, which are transferring the load onto the lower tier, second tier beam, right? Now once I see that, let us see that in the design of the upper tier beams, then what is that design bending moment? Mu is equal to Pu divided by 8 L minus A. If I substitute Pu is equal to 1.5, factored load is equal to 1.5. Just now we have seen as per the new code. As per the new code, IS 2000, the partial safety factor is equal to 1.5. Even if I go to this page number 29 of new code, let me go to the page number 29, student, at 29. One moment. Yes, this is how the partial safety factors for loads, right? Whereas for dead load, I am there in the table 4 of IS 800 2007. The partial safety factor for the limit state of strength is for dead load and live load combination is 1.5 dead load and 1.5 live load. 1.5 live load. Therefore, I have used that partial safety factor and we have fixed the size of the footing also. Hence, I am using that same factored load 1500 divided by 8 and L length is equal to 2.8. I have fixed 2.8. I got 2.72, but I have fixed 2.8 as the length of the beam, whereas that of the footing is 3 meter by 3 meter. That will see, right? Minus zero point 0.7 because the base plate is 700 mm, right? Therefore, the maximum minimum will get at this end, right? Therefore, here I'll get the I'm calculating that maximum minimum that we already derived. Therefore, if I substitute now, I'll get 393.75 kilonewton meter. Similarly, the maximum shear force at the face of this column itself is equal to Pu divided by 2L multiplied by L minus A. That now works out upon substitution 1500 divided by 2 multiplied by 2.8, that multiplied by 2.8 minus 0.7. It works out say 562.5 kilonewtons, right? Now I'll go for the design, right? Therefore, I want to fix a section for this upper tier beam. Therefore, what is the section modulus required? Means now if I go to IS 800 2000 class 8.2.1.2 page number 53, let me go to the page number 53, right? 53, yes. And then page number 53, student, now code says that section the design bending strength of a section not susceptible for web buckling under shear force means where d by tw is less than 67 times epsilon shall be determined according to 8.2.1.2, right? Means using this, right? And when the factor design shear force does not exceed 0.6 VD, means when it is not high shear, means when it is only the low shear, then the design shear the design bending strength MD shall be calculated using this. MD is equal to beta b multiplied by ZP Fy divided by gamma m naught, where MD shall be less than 1.2 ZE Fy divided by gamma m naught in case of simply supported beam, and it should be 1.5 ZE Fy divided by gamma m naught in case of the cantilevered beams, right? Now we will have the now let us check that where beta b is equal to 1 for the plastic and compact section, and beta b is equal to the ratio of the elastic section modulus to the plastic section modulus for the semi-compact section, where ZP and ZE are the plastic and elastic section moduli, and Fy is the yield stress of the material, and gamma m naught is the partial safety factor. Whereas when the design shear strength is more than 0.6 VD, then the MD is not MD. MD is equal to MDV. That also we'll see. MD is equal to MDV. Now let us see as per this code specification, student. Now I know what is ZP, plastic section modulus, is now calculated, right? Like this, right? Therefore now I'll say ZP. Now these are my assumptions, assuming the section to be plastic, right? Therefore beta b is equal to 1 and low shear. These are the two assumptions. Later on I'll check that, right? Therefore ZP is equal to MB divided by Fy divided by gamma m naught. Whereas we are using Fe 410 grade shield because there is no assumption given. I am assuming Fe 410 grade shield which has this is my assumption, right? Assuming that now I have ultimate strength of the steel. Ultimate strength of the steel is equal to 410 MPa Newton per meter square, and yield stress of the steel is equal to 250 MPa. 250 MPa. Even If I go to IS 800 2007, table 5, page number 30, let me go to that page number 30, student, right, of IS 800 2000, page number 30. Yes, page number 30. Yes, I am there in page number 30, where now you can see design strength, right? Whereas partial safety factor for the material gamma m, right? Gamma m. I would have partial safety factor when the resistance is governed by the yielding, gamma m naught. And whereas if it all is governed by the buckling or ultimate stress, then this partial safety factor is equal to gamma m1 is 1.25. 1.25. Therefore, once I recall that, I've just noted down those values are gamma m naught is equal to 1.1 and gamma m1 is equal to 1.5, 1.25. Therefore, now I am substituting those values here. Therefore, 393.75 into 4.6, that multiplied by gamma m naught is equal to 1.1 divided by 250. Now I'll get 1732.5 into 3 mm cube. However, what now I'll do is that let us assume three number of beams. Why three number of beams? Now let me check this schematic, student, because I have to have this, right. Base plate is of only just 700 mm. Therefore, within 700 mm, I cannot put many number of beams. Now I can't put. Now you can see that the plane will occupy some length. Therefore, if I put more numbers, I cannot accommodate within 700 mm. Therefore, either you assume say 2 or 3, not more, right? Or at maximum 4, right? That's what I'm just assuming, so that even the gap between these ends of the flanges should be not less than 40 mm as per the code, and also practically not less than 75 mm also, right? Now, keeping in with that, now I'll assume, this is my assumption, that let us assume three number of beams. Therefore, the plastic section modulus required for each of the beam is equal to that value divided by 3. Previously, I got some value 1732.5, that divided by 3. It now works out, say 577.5 10 power 3 mm cube, or 577.5 centimeter cube. Now, what now I'll do is that I'll go to IS 800 2007, page number 139, table 46, so that I'll see which section is giving this much of plastic section modulus ZP. Let me move to page number 139, of the new code. Yes, 139, right? Okay, 139. Yes, student, I'm there in that page number 139. Actually, this is IS 800, which gives the plastic annex H, table 46, plastic properties of the beams, which gives the different plastic properties of the different sections. Now I am choosing ISMB 300. Therefore, what are the properties? I'll note down. Let me see the section. Let me see the section, right? I'm trying with ISMB 300 at a rate of 44.2. Let me see that, right? Section ISMB 300 at a rate of 44. At a rate of 44. Therefore, now I have here, yes, ISMB 300 rate of 44.2 kg per meter. Now I'll note on the relevant properties, right? First of all, what is my interest is whether it furnishes the section modulus required or not, right? Therefore, it gives a plastic section modulus of 651.74. Yes, the required is 572 odd only, but it is furnishing 651.74. Therefore, it is okay. And what is the elastic section modulus? Now I'll note down, right? 573.6 centimeter cube. And I'll note down the other relevant properties also, where the depth of the section, which is equal to 300 mm, and width of the flange, BF is equal to 140 mm, and the thickness of the flange, TF is equal to 12.4, and thickness of the web 7.5, and radii of gyration about the major axis 12.37 and minor axis 2.84. Even if I go to the SP61 1964, there also I can note down, right? ISMB 300. I note down the properties. Even here the plastic section modulus is not available. ISMB 300, the plastic section modulus is not available. Therefore, that should be referred from IS 800 2007 only. Therefore, I do have ISMB 300. Therefore, the different properties are given. The different properties are given in this page number 2. In this page number 2, which are same as that of the what you have seen as per the new code also. No difference, but only here plastic section modulus is not available. There is only difference, right? Therefore, once I note down those properties, now what I'll do is I'll check. I have just noted down those properties, right? The plastic section modulus provided 651, which is greater than 577.5, 10 power 3 mm cube. Therefore, it should be okay. Therefore, the other properties just now I told that width of the flange is equal to 140 mm, and the thickness of this flange is equal to 12.4 mm, and also the other properties, the thickness of this web is equal to 7.5 mm, and also the root radius r is equal to 14 mm, and even the other property is that h1 is equal to h minus 2 multiplied 2 times the thickness of the flange plus root radius. Even that value is also given directly, and h2 value is also given, right? Means up to the end of the root radius h2, right? Whereas h1 is pure vertical part. After that, end of the root radius at the top as well as the bottom, right? h1 and h2. Both of these properties are noted down, so that now I'll make a check. First check is that check for spacing, right? However, I do have 700 mm is the width of the base plate. I have just put these 3 number of beams, right? Therefore, if I put 3 number of beams, what is the distance? What is the distance between each of these? Therefore, that now works out say like this. Let me show this in this schematic. Therefore, 700 mm, I have put 1, 2, 3. Therefore, what is this gap from end of the web to end of the web? That now works out to say 700 minus 3 beams whose width is equal to 140 mm. That divided by between the 3 beams, 2 spacing will be there. That divided by 2. It now works out to say 140 mm, which is greater than 40 mm as per the old code. Even as per the in the new code there are no specifications. Now I will show that in the old code. Now code says that right, the section is of single web of the I section. That form I am taking, whose webs are not spaced apart by 40 mm. Yes, I am satisfying that criteria as per the code specification IS 800 1984 page number 107, right? It is okay. Once it is okay, then I can proceed with how much of movement it can resist, therefore design movement capacity, right? Whereas now I need to decide what is the section classification. Therefore, within that the first heading is the section classification as per the IS 800 2007 table 2 page number 18. Let me go to the page number 18, student, right? So that we'll see the specifications. Page number 18. Yes, I'm there in that page number 18, wherein it gives limiting width to thickness ratio. For the beams as well as that of the other sections, right? Right? Now I'm using the beam. Therefore, the outstanding element of the compression flange, right? Rolled steel section, B by TF. For class 1 section or plastic section, that B by T outstanding length to the thickness of the flange should be less than 9.4 epsilon, then it is called plastic section. If it is greater than 9.4 and less than 10.5, then it is called the compact section, or if it is greater than 10.5 and less than 15.7, then this is called the semi-compact section, right? Semi-compact section. Similarly, for web of I section or H or box section, neutral axis lies at the middle depth. Now I am using a symmetrical section which is symmetric about the major axis of bending, x axis, as well as the minor axis. Therefore, in such a case, neutral axis lies at the middle depth. Therefore, the d by tw, if it is less than or equal to 84 times epsilon, then plastic section. If it is greater than 84 times epsilon and less than 105, then this is compact section. If it is greater than 105 and less than 126, then this is semi-compact section. Once I see this code specification, let me substitute and check what type of section classification it is, right? Where I do have the outstand of the leg, however the width of the flange is 140 mm. Therefore, this is what called outstand of this flange, outstand. of flange, right? From the web, right? Web, what is that? Outstand is equal to total width of the flange is equal to 140, that divided by 2. Therefore, that now starts to 70 mm. Therefore, that 70 mm divided by this thickness of the flange is equal to 12.4. That now works at 5.64, which is less than 9.4. Just now, which is less than this 9.4. 9.4. Just now we have seen as per this. Therefore, the flange has totally plastified. Similarly, let us check whether the entire web has plastified or not, right? Okay. Then d divided by tw, where d is nothing but h1, where h1 is nothing but minus 2 times the thickness of the flange plus root radius r. Therefore, now I'll substitute that. Now I'll get h is equal to 200 minus 2 multiplied by thickness of the flange is equal to 14 plus root radius is equal to 12.4. The total divided by 7.5. Now it works out say 32.96, which is less than 84. As per this is less than 84, right? D by TW is less than 84. Then even the web has totally plastified. Therefore, the section is the plastic section. Once the section is a plastic section, then what now I'll say is that it is okay as per our assumption. Therefore, beta is equal to 1 as per this IS 800 specification. Just now we have seen, right? Therefore, what is the bending capacity of these beams or that of each beam? Both are same, right? Either of the two is true. Therefore, that is equal to MD is equal to beta multiplied by ZP multiplied by Fi divided by gamma m naught multiplied by number of beams, right? Whereas I do have beta is equal to 1. Beta is equal to 1 because we have seen that just now. That if at all it is a plastic section, beta is equal to 1. Otherwise, it is a ratio of that we have seen. Hence, beta is equal to 1 and 651.74 10 to power 3 is the plastic section modulus multiplied by Fy is equal to 250 divided by 1.1 for one section. Similarly, if we are using 3 sections, all the 3 sections will put together acting as if 1 unit will resist 448.96 kilonewton. However, we are having a factor moment of 393.75 kilonewton only, right? Whereas this actual value will work out say 444.36, whereas here is the design capacity, whereas what we have, the factor moment is equal to 393.74, which is greater than that applied moment, factor moment. Therefore, it is okay. Or even if I see for each of the section, for one section, this design bending moment capacity will work out 148.12, whereas the moment to which these sections are subjected is only 393.73 divided by 3, which is 131.25. Therefore, this 148.12 is less than 131.25 kilonewton meter. Therefore, okay, the bending capacity, the moment of resistance is okay. Therefore, it is safe in flexure criteria. Now, once it is okay in flexure criteria, let me check whether is it okay in shear criteria also. Right? Therefore, now I'll go to IS 800 2007 class 8.4 page number 59. Let me go to that page number 59. As per the new code, page number 59. Yes, page number 59. And there in that code specification for shear, now code says that the factor design shear V in a beam subject due to external forces shall be V should be less than or equal to Vd, where Vd is equal to Vn divided by gamma m naught, where Vn is equal to Vp, where Vp is equal to Av multiplied by Fyw divided by root 3, where Av is the shear area and Fyw is the yield strength of the web. Whereas for I sections and channel sections, the shear area Av shall be taken about the major axis of bending for hot rolled sections. Generally, I sections are hot rolled section, H multiplied by Tw. Therefore, substituting all these, now I'll get that design shear capacity of this I beam section Vd is equal to, right, Fy divided by root 3, 250 divided by root 3 multiplied by partial shift factor is 1.1 in the denominator. That multiplied by depth of this section is equal to 300 multiplied by thickness of the web is equal to 7.5. That will be 10 to the power 3. It now works out say 295.23 kilonewton. However, it is subjected to a factored shear force of 562.5 resisted by the three beams, which is 187.5. Therefore, each of the beam can resist up to 295.23. Whereas, what is the design shear? What is the factored shear force is only 187.5. Is the action. This is the resistance. Resistance is 295.23 is the resistance or the capacity. The action is only action force is 187.5. Therefore, it is okay. It is okay in the shear criteria. It is safe in shear criteria. That is what the one. Also, the next check whether is it a case of the high shear. Therefore, that is what called the check for the high shear. Check for the high shear. Now, as per IS 800 2000 class 8.2.1.2, page number 53, just now we have seen in the initial discussion. Let me go to the page number 53 now. At a quicker pace, 53. Right? Just wait for a moment. I am going to the page number 53. Yes. Yes. Now this is what when the factor design shear force does not exceed zero point 0.6 VD, then only this is applicable. Otherwise, if it is exceeding 0.6 VD, the code says that MD is not MD, it is MDV. Therefore, let me check whether is it a case of low shear or high shear. Therefore, now here this 187.5 on each of the beam to the shear force on each of the beam is just greater than 0.6 VD design capacity. 0.6 multiplied by each of the beam can resist 295.23. 0.6 that now works out to 177.14, whereas the load on the beam is 187.5, whereas the limit 0.6 VD is 177.1 kilonewton, 14 kilonewton. Therefore, it is a case of high shear. It is a case of high shear. Therefore, if that is the case, right? Now, like this, let me go to this illustration also, student. Just wait for a moment, right? This is how the buckling will be happening. Buckling will be happening, right? That is how when it is subjected to. Now we are checking whether this is a case of high shear or not, means or low shear. Low shear. Therefore, what happened to this web, right? Therefore, this buckling will happen. This buckling will happen, right, under the concentrated load or under the reaction load, because of which MD, if at all high shear, MD is equal to MDV, otherwise MD is equal to MD only, right? And so that I am checking. Therefore, let me see. Just now we have seen from this page number 70. Now, because this is a case of the high shear, because 187.5 kilonewton is greater than 177.14, therefore it is a case of the high shear. Therefore, as per the IS 800 2007 class 9.2.2, page number 70. Let me go to the page number 70 of IS 890. Yes, 90 means yes, correct, right? As per this now, I'll say that the design let me revisit this class 9.2.2, class 9.2.2. Let me go back to IS 800, right? Class 9.2.2, so student, sorry, not this one. Class 9.2.2, not this one. Yes. Yes, as per this class 9.2.2, 9 point, just wait for me, right? Yes, this is that class, student, right? Therefore, now code says that here, as per this page number 69, combined shear and bending, if the moment capacity may be taken as MD, whereas that MD is equal to MDV as calculated, given here for the plastic section or compact section, MDV is equal to MD minus beta multiplied by MD minus MFD. It should be less than or equal to 1.2 ZEFI divided by gamma m naught, where beta is the 2V divided by VD minus 1 whole square. MD is the plastic design moment of the whole section disregarding the high shear force effect, and V is a factor applied shear force as governed by the web yielding or web buckling, and VD is the design shear strength as governed by web yielding or web buckling, and MFD is the plastic design strength of the area of the cross section excluding shear area. Please make a note, excluding shear area considering partial safety factor gamma m naught, and Z is the elastic section modulus of the whole section. Whereas for semi-compact section, MdV is equal to ZEFI divided by gamma m naught, right? Whereas our case is a plastic section. Therefore, I have just noted down this formula and substituting into this, right? Therefore, now I do have this formula I already written, where beta is equal to 2V. V is equal to 2 multiplied by 187.5 divided by VD. The design shear capacity is equal to 295.23 minus 1 whole square. It works out to 0.073. Whereas ZFD is the first moment of the area excluding the shear area, means ZFD. That F means that are the flanges only, is nothing but ZPZ plastic section modulus minus the plastic section modulus of that of the shear area or that of the webs. That is nothing but area of the web multiplied by the first moment of the area of these webs, right? Therefore, that is nothing but 651.75 10 to the power 3 minus I do have like this, right? Let me go to this schematic. Let me go to this schematic, student, right? I do have, right, here the neutral axis is there. Therefore, what is this area and where is the CG lies, right? Therefore, this area is nothing but half this height, and where the CG is 1/4 of this from the neutral axis, that of the entire depth. Therefore, that now I'll substitute here, right? That is equal to 2 multiplied by 150, because 300 by 2 is equal to 150. Total depth is equal to 300 divided by 2. That multiplied by 2, 1 in the compression above neutral axis, 1 below the neutral axis. That multiplied by thickness of the web 7.5. Whereas where is the CG of that? Each of that is equal to 150 by 2. It now works out, say, 483 centimeter cube, or 483 10 to the power 3 mm cube. Right? Therefore, MFD is equal to Fy multiplied by ZFD divided by gamma m naught. Right? 250 multiplied by 2, 483 10 to the power 3 divided by 1.1, that divided by 10 to the power 6. It now works out to 109.77 kilonewton meter. Therefore, substituting these into this above formula, MdV is equal to MdE. MdE is equal to 148.1212 minus 0.073 multiplied by 148.12 minus 109.77. That works out, say, 145.32. However, this should be less than or equal to this 1.2 ZE Fy divided by gamma m naught, substituting which I'll get 1.2 multiplied by 5, 73.5 10 to the power 3 multiplied by 250 divided by 1.1 divided by 10 to the power 6. It's a value 156.43 kilonewton meter. However, what we got, 145.32 is less than 156.43, therefore it is okay. And also this MdV should be greater than Mu. 145 is greater than Mu is 131.25. It is okay. Means Mu is the moment to which each of these sections is subjected. Whereas even after decrement of this moment design capacity from 148.12 due to the high shear, it has come down to 145.32 only, but still it is more than the bending moment factored bending moment to which it is subjected, 131.25. Therefore, it is okay. It is okay, right? That is why the check for the high shear is okay. Once it is okay, now then I'll go for the next checking. Next check is a check for web buckling. However, as per the IS 800 2007 class 8.7.3.1, page 67. Let me go to that page 67, and as well as per the page number 53. First, let me go to this page number 53, student, right? Page number 53, not this new code. Sorry, right? Page number 67. Yes, let me go to this page number 67. Yes, I'm there in page number 67 now. Now, as per this, what we can say is that here, as per this, not this one. just wait for a moment. Right? Now let me go to this code specification. Code specification, page number 53. Let me go to the page number 53. Right? Not 63 student. Right? Page number 53. Yes. Yes, this one, right? Once this d by tw is less than 67 times epsilon naught, then the buckling due to the shear in the web will not happen, right? Let me check that whether it will happen or not, whether check for buckling is required or not. That I'll check. However, if I see what we got in our problem is d by tw is 32.96, which is less than 67. Therefore, the web buckling under the shear will not happen. This already checked during the section classification. You please see this, right? Therefore, this d by tw is 32.96 is much less than 67. Therefore, the web will not buckle due to the shear. Therefore, the check for buckling is not required. However, in the next problem, I'll show even if all is required, how this check should be done as per this IS 800 2007 class 8.7.3.1 page number 67, as per this page number 67. Right, now let me show the page number 67 also. Right, 67, right, 67. Yes, as per this specification, right, means web check as per class 8.3.7. The effective width of the web while evaluating the slenderness ratio shall be calculated, right? The area of the cross section shall be taken as b1 plus n1 multiplied by tw, where b1 is the width of the strip bearing on the flange and n1 is the dispersion of the load through the web at 45 degree to the level of half the depth of the cross section, right? Are as shown in this figure, right? Now I am showing that, right? Now that is how web buckling check should be done, right? B1 plus N1, if at all it is supporting the reaction, if at all there is a concentrated load, B1 plus 2N1, dispersion happening at 45 degree, right? Now here, however, here this check is not required, therefore I am skipping up. I'll do that same check in the next problem if at all required, right? Now then the last check is that check for web buckling is over. Now check for web crippling. Check for web crippling as per this class 8.7.4 page number 67 of IS 800 2007, same page, right? Therefore, as per this bearing stiffness should be provided for the webs where the applied where forces applied through the flange by loads and reactions exceeding the local capacity of the web at its connection to the flange. Fw is equal to b1 plus n2 multiplied by thickness of the web, fy w divided by gamma m0, where b1 is the strip bearing length and n2 is equal to length obtained by dispersion through flange to the web junction at a slope of 1:2.5 to the plane of the flange, and Tw is the thickness of the web and Fyw is the yield stress of the web, right? That is how the code specification. If I see that schematically, that will be like this, student, right? Now let me go to schematically. Yes, that is how check for web crippling, means where load is put on the top flange. Therefore, at the intersection of the flange with the web, right? At this intersection, right? The web will undergo infinite rotation like this. Therefore, that is what called the web crippling. Whereas at the support, the web will undergo crippling at the intersection of the bottom flange with the intersection of the web, right? As shown in this figure. However, this load dispersion is at a rate of 1:2.5 as per the code specification. Therefore, now I'm showing that at the support, B1 is the width of this base plate or over which the load is transferred, right? And now this is N2. N2 is at a dispersion of 1:2.5 up to the end of the root radius. Right? Therefore, there is thickness of the flange plus this R. Therefore, there is a that specification will come into picture, right? Like this, right? Up to the end of the root radius, thickness of the plane, and up to the end of this root radius, right? Now, let me see this in the if I substitute, what will happen, right? Therefore, upon substitution, right? Now I'll just recall that formula, right? There is a dispersion takes place at the two edges because the load is put on a base plate, which is transferring the load the on the either side of the uh, top compression flange. Therefore, B in this case is equal to 700 mm, which is the width of this base plate, which is throwing the load on either side. On either side, right? On either side, like this, right? A dispersion of 1 is to 2.5, 1 is to 2.5, right? Therefore, that is how. Now I calculate that N2 is equal to 2 multiplied by 2.5 multiplied by this H2, whereas H2 from the SPC, SP we have already noted down, or IS 800 we have already noted down, or even you can take TF plus R1 root radius 12.4 thickness of the flange plus root radius is equal to 26.4. Therefore, that multiplied by 2.5, it is dispersing at a rate of 1 is to 2.5. Therefore, 2.5, it is dispersing on either side. Therefore, 2. If I multiply all this, now I'll get 146.25. Whereas, even if I substitute this H2, or even if I calculate from fundamentals thickness of the flange plus root radius, then it will work out 132. Either of the two is true, right? Either of the two is true, right? Then I'll say that what is the load in the load resisted by the web at this intersection of the flange with the web, right? FW, right? Or the crippling load, otherwise it is called crippling load, capital FW, which is B plus N2. Just now we saw N2 is equal to 146, or I'm substituting that, right? That multiplied with thickness of the web. Therefore, B is equal to width of the base plate 700 plus 146.25. That multiplied with thickness of the web. 7.5 multiplied by F5, 250 divided by 1.1. It works out say 1442.5 kilonewton, which is much greater than. And this is on each beam, right? Whereas each beam is subjected to just 500 kilonewton load. Therefore, it is okay. Even if I calculate using 132 student, then it will work out 1418.18 kilonewton, which is greater than 500 kilonewton. Therefore, it is okay. The web will not buckle. Therefore, it is okay in all the criteria. Hence, provide these three ISMB as the final section. ISMB at a rate of 44.2 kg per meter or 442 Newton per meter as the final section of the first tier beams, like this, right? That of the first tier, or let me see this, right? That of the first tier. This just now we have fixed, right? This one we have fixed. 3 ISMB 300. Now let us do the design of this, or this we have fixed, right? 1, 2, 3, right? Now let us see this, the second tier beam, or that of these horizontal beams, like this, right? Or these beams, right? Then let us initiate the design, right? Now I'll move to the next heading as the design of the lower tier or the second tier beams, right? Is like this, right? Lower tier beams, right? MU is equal to, as per the formula, PU divided by 8 multiplied by B minus B, right? Please see that here this not this one, right? Here I do have this entire load is dispersed over a width of B. Previously, these first tier beams were transferring the load over L, right? Now, whereas the lower tier beams are dispersing over a width of B, right? Please make a note. Therefore, B minus this B, small b, right? Therefore, even small b is also 700, right? Therefore, by substituting that, now I'll get 1500 divided by 8, even small b, because it's a square footing, what you have assumed, 2.8 minus 0.7, that works out say 393.75, as if the previous case, the same result. View is also same, 562.5 kilonewton because this is a square footing. Now I am assuming that beams are now for these beams, what should the section modulus? As per this IS 800 2007, page number 53, class 8.2.1.2, assuming the section to be plastic section and low shear, as we have discussed in the first type beam. Therefore, that now also says that P required is equal to mu divided by Fi divided by gamma m naught. Upon substitution, same is the value 393.75 10 per 6 multiplied by 1.1 divided by 250. It works out say 1732.5 centimeter cube. And now you please see that in the lower tier I can provide more number of beams. You please see that I need to accommodate more number of beams over a large length, because now the length is almost 2800 mm. Previously the length was only just 700 mm. Please see this, right? Just 700 mm. Within 700 mm hardly I can accommodate 2 or 3 or at maximum 4, whereas over a width B which is 2800 mm from this end to this end, right, I can accommodate more number of beams. Therefore I'll assume, say this assumption you may differ also, assuming 10 number of beams. Even as per the codal specification, if I go to this for encased beams, the code says that the sections may be that of the single web of I section or double open channel of webs not less than 40 mm apart, right? Even channel sections may also be used, right? However, in the previous video, ASD1 and ASD2 and ASD3, I have solved the problem using purely top tier as well as the bottom tier, both consisting of I sections only. You may design like that also, even, or alternatively what you can do is that you can use even the channel sections also used as the beam sections as per this class 10.2 of IS 800 1984. Therefore, I am illustrating that using the channel sections in this video, right? That let us see in this class, right? Therefore, now I will have this much of the section models. Therefore, if I assume 10 sections, then the plastic section model is required for each beam. Beam is that of the channel section, 173.25 centimeter cube. Therefore, if I choose ISMC 200 from IS 800 2007 table 46 page number 139. Let me go to the page number 139, or SP 61 1964 table 1 page number 6. From both of these, let me go to this page number 139 of new code 139. Yes, 139. And then in the page number 139, ISMC, just wait for a moment, ISMC 200 at 22.1, ISMC 200, yes, ISMC 200, yes, this one, ISMC 200 at a rate of 22.1 kg per meter. I am just noting down the relevant properties, right? Now the plastic section model is equal to 211.1 and other properties I have just noted down as explained in the previous subheading. Therefore, these are the relevant properties that the plastic section model ZP is equal to 211.25 10 to the power 3 mm cube, which is greater than 173.25 10 to the power 3 mm cube. Therefore, it is okay. If it is okay, then I'll note down what is the depth of the section is 200 mm and breadth of the flame that of this channel section is only 75 mm, and the thickness of the web is equal to 6.1, and the root radius is equal to 11 mm, and H2 from the end of the flange to up to the end of the root radius is equal to 24.9, and thickness of the flange 11.4 mm. All these properties I have noted down. Now the relevant checks are same as we have done in the top tier itself. Now I'll do at a quicker pace, right? Because I already elaborately explained in the previous subheading. Now I'll do it at a quicker pace. Therefore, the first subheading is the check for spacing is equal to L minus 10 beams we are using of each width 75 mm only. Therefore, 2800 minus 10 multiplied by 7.5. Between 10 beams, I will have 9 spacings. That now works out say 227 point, approximately 228 mm, which is greater than 75 mm. It is okay. First check is okay. Similarly, check for bending strength. As per the page number 53, I have already explained first. Now I will need to do the section classification as per IS 800 2007 table 2 page number 11. Therefore, I have to have B is equal to 75 by 2 only. sorry, here here that itself is 75, sorry, 75 divided by 11.4, therefore 3.28 multiplied by 2. This is not by 2, student, because the channel section is a channel section, right? Or that is that is true for I section, whereas here I do have the flange itself is 75, therefore that's 75 by 2. Now it works out says 6.56, which is less than 9.4, it is okay. And d divided by tw is 200 minus this 2 multiplied by 11.4 plus thickness of the flange 11 divided by 6.1, it works out say 28.44, which is less than 84, means the flange has plastified and as well as the web has also plastified, hence the section is a plastic section, hence the beta value is equal to 1, hence the bending capacity of the section, the bending moment capacity of the section MD is equal to beta multiplied by ZP Fi divided by gamma m naught. Upon substitution, 1 multiplied by 211.25 divided by 3 multiplied by 250 divided by 1.1. Say 48 kilonewton meter approximately, but it is subjected to roughly 39.38 kilonewton only, which is greater than 39.38. It is okay. Or all put together are resisting 480.1 kilonewton meter, which is greater than 393.75 kilonewton. Therefore, it is okay. Once it is okay, then what now I'll do is now I'll check for shear. Right? What is the shear capacity of this section? As per the class 8.4, page number 15 of IS 800 2007, right? VD is equal to Fy. Using this formula, Fy divided by root 3 gamma m naught multiplied by h multiplied by tw. Fy is 250 divided by root 3 multiplied by 1.1 multiplied by 200 multiplied by 6.1 divided by 10 to the power 3. It works out say 160 kilonewton. 160, whereas it is subjected to just 56.25 kilonewton only. 160 is greater than 56.25 kilonewton. Therefore, it is okay in shear criteria. In design, shear capacity is greater than that of the factored shear force to which it is subjected. It is okay. Now, let me check the third check as check for high shear. As per this IS 800 2007 class 8.2.1.2 page number 53. As this the factored shear force 56.25 kilonewton is much less than 0.6 VD. Design shear capacity is 160.1, which is 96.05. 56.25 is less than 96.05 kilonewton. It is a case of the low shear, means you need not check for the web buckling, that may be skipped. However, I will show that if at all it is required, I will show in the next problem how that check should be carried in numeric format, right? Now and also the next check is the check for web buckling, right? However, here this VU is less than 0.6 VD, therefore MD itself is MD, means what are that design moment we got as 448.01 for each of the section, which is greater than 39.38 is okay. Otherwise, MD is equal to MDV. If it is high shear, then MD is equal to MDV, as we have seen in the first tire, right? MD was MDV. The design flexural capacity or design bending capacity was reduced due to high shear, right? Here it is not reduced, right? Likewise, check for web buckling. However, as per IS 800 2007 class 8.7.3.1 page number 67 and as well as class 8.2.1.1 page number 53 as D by TW, is less than 67. Now let me go to that section classification, right? This one, which is 28.44, which is less than 67. Therefore, here web buckling check is not required. However, if at all it is required, how it should be done, I'll illustrate that in the next problem, student, right? The final check is the check for web crippling. As per this IS 800 2007 class 8.7.4 page number 67, then just now we have seen the dispersion length is 2 multiplied by 2.5 N2. However, Upon substitution, 2 multiplied by 2.5 multiplied by 24.9, which is equal to 124.5. Therefore, the uh, the critical load for web crippling is equal to FW, or crippling load in the web is equal to FW is equal to 700, because the still in the perpendicular direction also the width of the base plate is presumed to be 700. The load is coming presumed to be transferred from 700 on either side. Therefore, that outside 2 multiplied by 2, right? Therefore, 700 plus 124.25 multiplied by the thickness of thickness of the web 6.1 multiplied by 250 divided by 1.1 divided by 10 to the power 3. It works out say 1143 kilonewton, which is greater than 1500 kilonewton over 10 beams, or on each beam. Each beam is subjected to a crippling load of 114.3 kilonewton, which is greater than each channel beam can resist up to a crippling load of 1143 kilonewton, but it is subjected to just mere 150 kilonewton, because 1500 kilonewton factor load is taken by 10 beams. Therefore, each beam will resist only 150 kilonewton. Therefore, 1143 is much more than 150 kilonewton. Therefore, it is okay. Once it is okay, therefore, you provide 10 ISMC. Please make a note. ISMC 200 at a rate of 22.1 kg per meter. Or alternatively, you can provide ISMB, or you can say, without any further checking, I am saying that okay, provide ISMB 200 section. Otherwise, right? Because obviously ISMB will be having ISMB 200 MB will be having more ZP than that of the ISMC 200. Therefore, that will be okay also, right? You can do on your own using beam section also if you wish, right? Right? However, my advice is that use the same beam sections in the top tier as well as the bottom tiers also. That is how. Now this is the column which is supported on the base plate of 700 mm by 700 mm, student, like this, right? Which is supported on to the top tier grillage beams like this, right? Top tier grillage beams, right? Like this, right? Which is supported on the bottom tier grillage, right? That is of the front elevation, right? These are 3 ISMB beams of ISMB 300 mm. This second tier is ISMC 200 mm, or even you may provide ISMB 200 mm. If you don't want, you can provide ISMB 200 mm also, right? That is how in section elevation, right? This length is equal to 2.8. As per this codal specification, I need to add 100 mm extra. Therefore, this is not 2.8, student, right? It should be from outer end of this concrete to outer end of the concrete is equal to 2.8 plus 100 plus 100. It should be 3 meter by 3 meter, right? That is how 3 meter by 3 meter in plan, right? In plan, I do have the three beams ISMB 300 at a rate of 44.2 kg per meter in the top tier, as well as in the bottom tier ISMC 200 at a rate of 22.1 kg per meter, or even you provide ISMB 200 also, as shown in this figure, right? As shown in this figure, right? Or as shown in this schematic. Now, as shown in this schematic, right? This is just a schematic or the 3D view. What we are doing, just a 3D visualization is like this, right? Which are connected by means of the pipe connectors at regular spacing, not exceeding 150 mm, so that all these will be acting as a one unit, right? This is a real photograph, right? Okay, student, I hope you understood the concept what we discussed in today's class, right? Then this is how the schematic what I have shown, right? If you have really enjoyed the discussions what we had in today's class, don't forget to click like, share, subscribe and comment to our YouTube channel and support our YouTube channel. We'll meet in the next class with the next topic on the combined rectangular grillage foundations. Till then, bye bye, students.